And my sister sent me a birthday present. I think she's jealous of my YouTube fame and fortune. Thanks, sis. Alright guys, welcome back to the garage. Thursday night, May the 6th, just coming up to 7 p.m. And I thought I'd come out and do a bit of a power hour out here and just do a little tinkering. Did manage to get my tires. This is my birthday present to myself. Some new Avid Ascend GT 205/60 16s, which are what I had on the car before. I had Yokohama Avids. I think they were TRZs or TRZ, whatever you want to say. And they were good tires. So I decided to go back with the Yokohamas. I had a decision to make between Yokohama and the Pirelli P7, and the Yokohamas were available at my local tire shop, so we went with those. I think they were just over $700, $715 for the tires, including the mounting and balancing. And I believe there's a $70 mail-in credit on. There's a promotion on for Yokohama tires right now, so I'm going to get a $70, I think it's a prepaid Visa card that I get back. So anyway, not too bad. Alright, so as I mentioned, we're going to do a little bit of tinkering. We're just going to start finding parts to put this car back together. Went through my part stash, got a high performance manifold gasket from Moss, part number 695-060. And that will be good to put the intake and exhaust manifold back on the car once we get our new exhaust, which should hopefully arrive at my mailbox tomorrow or Saturday. We'll have to wait and see. I am going to look for a few parts in my parts bins that I've tucked away. In particular, I thought I was done with the sway bar on the TR250, and I had some leftover hardware. Well, I'm going to have to dig that out because, as you know, I'm missing a bunch of stuff now on the driver's side rear of my TR6. So we'll go through the bins and see if I can find the leftovers from the sway bar installation from the 250 and try to utilize that on the TR6. Alright, found what I was looking for as far as that rear sway bar link is concerned. I've got more than enough parts here to make up what I need. There is the one of the bolts that broke. It looked something like that. Got enough bushings, got enough spacers, got enough collars, and even got some grease hanging around for those. And the only thing I'm missing is the large washer that fits under the trailing arm. So I might have to fabricate one of those. I've got a buddy of mine looking for one for me. If he can't find one in the near future, then I'll just have to fabricate something out of a large washer and maybe a smaller washer welded together to create a bit of a pocket. So I'm going to see what I've got in the garage as far as large washers are concerned. I might even be able to make something out of, I think I've got 13 gauge metal somewhere. I might even be able to make something out of that by sandwiching a couple of pieces of 13 gauge together and forming that into a round plate. We'll see. We'll figure something out. It's not going to stop us. But anyway, I'm happy to be able to find those bits to get the rear sway bar back together at some point. As mentioned, I found the manifold gasket, and I actually have the new hoses here. These are new silicone hoses. This one would go here as a replacement, and that one would go there as a replacement. So I figure while I'm in there, I may as well go ahead and replace those with brand new hoses, since I won't have to do that now for another 10 years or so. This is bugging me. This needs to be painted, so who knows? We might even go after that, take it off the car and paint that before we button everything up. Or we might just paint it on the car. Who knows? We'll see how lazy we're feeling or not. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. We'll pick it up in the next installment. Alright, Sunday, May the 9th, just coming up to 7 a.m. And it's Mother's Day up here, so happy Mother's Day to my #1 fan. Well, let's say #1 shared fan, my mom, and followed closely by my dad. A little frosty out here today. Or this morning. Still a little chilly. Anyway, we're back on the TR6 project today, and we're going to do a little cleaning underneath the car. This is the first order of the day. We're going to clean what we can and do a little waxing under the car, if you can believe that. May as well do a little cleaning while we can. While the exhaust is off, we're going to clean the bottom of the car where the exhaust would normally hide that area. We'll give it a quick clean before we move forward with that project. And we'll do a little cleaning in the wheel wells, etc. while the tires and rims are off. We'll clean the tires and rims themselves. We'll wax the inside of the rims to prevent some of the dust from collecting. The brake dust in particular for the front rims likes to collect on the inside of the rim, so we'll give it a quick coating of rust. We'll try to take off the old adhesive where the old wheel weights were. Obviously they rebalanced the rims and tires, so we'll try to get the old adhesive off where the old wheel weights were stuck on. So a little bit of cleaning and prepping before we move forward on the project. Probably a good time to do that this morning, and then we'll move on to getting this thing back together later this morning and into the afternoon. Going to be a good day out in the garage today. Alright, here's what we're starting with this morning. So again, with no exhaust rear section on, I've got a little bit of opportunity to clean the bottom of the spare tire pan, so I may as well go ahead and do that while I can. So I've got a little bit of Marine Clean degreaser over here in a squeeze bottle. We're just going to use that. We're going to rinse that off afterwards. And then we're just going to hit it with a quick coat of wax to protect that area a little bit better. So let's get this area done a little bit better, or looking a little bit better. And we'll move up, we'll do the under floors, same process, and then we will move on from there. Yeah, you might think I'm crazy for wanting to clean under here, but it does make a huge difference. And I consider it part of the upkeep of the car. So there's the uncleaned part, just getting ready to be wiped down. And the clean part ready to be waxed up. Looks much better. Alright, that looks 100% better. So I'm happy with that. We'll move up and do the same thing under the floors at the front. We'll get that looking better, and then we'll move on to our next little project. Alright, I think the bottom of the car is actually cleaner than the top of the car for the time being, since the top of the car hasn't been cleaned for about 1.5 years. So anyway, the bottom of the car is done, nicely waxed. So happy with that. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to attack that missing sway bar link. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take apart the side that's remaining so I can have a look at the large washer that's on the bottom that is missing from the other side. I'm going to have to try to duplicate something like that here in the garage by either welding a couple of pieces of metal together or finding some large washers that I can use. Anyway, we'll figure something out to make something to work for the driver's side of that rear sway bar link. Alright, there's a quick shot of the passenger side rear sway bar mount that I need to duplicate on the driver's side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off. I need to get to this washer here because I need to create something that looks like that for the other side. So I'm going to take this completely off so I can grab that washer, and we'll try to make something that resembles that. Alright guys, here's the piece I'm trying to make. So it's basically just a thick piece of steel. These edges are squared off slightly to fit into the contour of the bottom of the trailing arm, and then it looks like it's just a large kind of washer on the other side which will hold the pocket for the bushing. So anyway, let me see what I can do. I do have this 13 gauge steel here which measures pretty closely. If I double the thickness of this and weld that together, that will probably work. I just had my calipers out doing some quick measurements, so I've got that as my backup. I'm going to see if I can find a thick piece of steel kicking around the house somewhere, and maybe I can cut something up and utilize it for this, but that is my backup plan if I don't find something thick enough to do this. The second thing I need to do is to find a washer that's going to be around that size, and I think I have some that I used on the lifting sling. Is that over here? No. So I have to find the lifting sling for my my engine hoist, because I use large washers to get the body tub on and off, so I might have those kicking around somewhere as well. So let me find a couple bits and we'll come back once we start playing around with this. Alright, here's another option for steel. This is an old piece of the leaf springs off of my 1960 TR3, I think. And it's about the same thickness as that washer, so I'm thinking of welding a couple of pieces together. It's not quite wide enough, as you can see, but I thought about welding a couple pieces together in the middle and then forming it to fit. I found a washer there that will work, so I think we'll go with this. So we'll drag everything outside. I think we'll set a work table out on the driveway because I don't necessarily want to be grinding or welding anywhere in proximity to my TR6. So I think the driveway is going to be the best workspace today. So we'll set something up out there. Got some portable workbenches here, so we'll drag one of those out and work in the driveway. Good thing it's not raining out today. Well, still only 9 o'clock on Sunday morning, so I think what we're going to do is we'll hold off doing any cutting and grinding and welding out in the driveway, at least for another half an hour to an hour. So we'll probably go in and have some breakfast and we'll come out after that. Alright guys, we had to change our plans a little bit on this sway bar bottom plate. I've made one up here, and I was going to try to make it out of this spring that I'd welded together, but it is hardened steel, so it is very difficult, or was very difficult to drill through, and I was going to have to do a lot of work to make this work. So I decided that I also have, these are the washers for the differential bushings. So what I ended up doing is I just ended up doing some extra weld on the edges, and you can see I had to do a fair amount. If I flip this, you can probably see how much I actually had to weld on to the outside of the washer. So it took me some time to do that. But anyway, we've got something that pretty much looks like the original that I've got. So we're going to paint that up, and we'll utilize that to get the sway bar bushing, or sway bar bushings back in place. Alright guys, I'm happy to say that the new sway bar end link is on the car, and I'm quite happy with the way that turned out. It took me a long time to get there though. It's probably close to 3:30, so a lot longer to get that done than anticipated. But we're back in good shape, and we can now move on to something else. Stay tuned.